Um, okay, so today's session is how to start a creative business or have business ideas of your own that hopefully match your personality. All the links will be available as usual within a Word document for you at the end. So the first thing that I'm going to start doing with you guys here today is going through all the resources. Some of the teaching points today are a bit of a repeat again from what we'd covered in previous weeks. Here is how difficult it actually is to be a business owner. I use the word difficult lightly, however, when I do use it, only in that anybody out there can apply themselves to be a business owner, and it's not as difficult as it seems once you've got a bit of discipline. But to say to anyone it's an easy ride is probably a bit of an elaboration. You know, I want to be very transparent that running your own business requires quite a lot of time, energy, and dedication. But if it's around something that you love, the good news about that is 9 times out of 10, it's not hard work, and it's just being able to do stuff that you enjoy doing for the whole day rather than working at a job that you don't enjoy. So please don't hear this and think, oh, it's super hard work, I'll never be able to do it. You will definitely be able to do it. It just needs to be around something you really care or give a F about, because if it's not, it's going to feel like a lot of hard work on the way. Right, we're going to start off with, however, again, highlighting one of my favourite resources for my business journey. And if I've been able to inspire any of you to date with my company and the sort of stuff that I've set up, I hope that this resource will be able to inspire you even more, because this is one of the main places that I plug into every day as soon as my eyes open, and it's another day on the planet. And the reason I like this resource, as I've sort of pointed out in last week's seminar as well, is mainly because this is an American resource as it started. So one thing I do want to highlight as a British entrepreneur already just listening to this seminar, be careful how much you plug into British resources. One thing I have found culturally about the UK is they're not very supportive of people that do very well for themselves. So if you make quite a lot of money here, you get quite a lot of haters. And on top of that, if you're particularly successful with your brand, some people feel like you're rubbing their noses in it whilst you're being successful, when all you're doing is working harder than others, which is why you're successful. So for me personally, I haven't had a lot of people compliment over the years. I've had quite a lot of people hate, and I'm not saying that to discourage anyone. I'm just saying I'm very aware of it when I go and plug into resources, is that I don't tend to speak to too many other British entrepreneurs at the same time. Not because they're not worth speaking to, lots are, but I find the attitude in general is not really to sort of share, because you've been so used to having to be a bit more humble, otherwise everyone thinks you're being arrogant. Whereas the Americans celebrate success all the time. They really love this sort of ground to the top story. So dig in this one if you can. One of my favorite reasons this is an amazing resource is it has a search function in the top right hand side here, and literally anything that you can think of. So if I type in here, for example, music, I'm sure you'll find a load of resources that are relevant to music related businesses within here, as well as loads of other interesting themes and subjects that go around this. Already I've got helpful bits and pieces. And again, you know, things like artificial intelligence is a very on-trend thing in industry at the minute. I would never have thought about that too much with music typically, but obviously it's really relevant at the minute, and other people have got ideas. But this is just the type of reading that I would maybe take in. And the reason I'm highlighting this is, like I say, it's an American-based resource that they've now expanded to be European inclusive as well. But one of the main benefits of a website like this is it's going to give you some additional thinking that you're not necessarily going to think of as you're sat there now taking in today's seminar. It's going to make you think outside the box. It's probably going to challenge some of your natural comfort zones and maybe force you to learn about things you've never learned about before. But to me, all of this is great because I can't get enough knowledge and information that the world has for me to soak up now that I actually know what I care about and what I want to plug into. And I hope by the end of this seminar, you'll understand that process a little bit more. But before I go crazy with Entrepreneur as the resource, and I'm going to start tapping into some stuff again in a second, I want to explain probably the most important business lesson I ever had in my life, which only occurred about 5 years ago. So for any of you that have been paying attention, I've done business now for about 15 years. I've never done a formal college training course or anything like that. I just did it with a bit of heart and a bit of like get up and go about me. Some people might like to say balls or whatever, but yeah, just being confident enough to take on the opportunity. And if anyone else wants this, you know, as motivation, I've shared with everyone that I was almost shot dead on my doorstep at 25. So whenever it comes to tough challenges in life now after that, and having sort of stared down a gun barrel, waiting for my life to end, I don't think anything else is scarier than that. So starting your own businesses is a walk in the park in comparison to almost getting shot and losing your life. And I'd recommend you look at challenges like that as well. So whatever's the worst thing that's ever happened to you, try and stare that in the face a little bit if you can, and understand how to sort of take a new challenge from something you might not have immediately done, and it'll pay off huge amounts. So the reason I'm sharing this page here is this is the most important business lesson I've ever had, which is to understand the difference between wealth and rich, and how to achieve one of them. A lot of people want to be rich, but they don't understand when you're rich, you have to work every day for your money. So you may have an amazing job and earn lots of money from it, which is great, but you still have to get up and go to work every day. And for some people, that isn't what they want to do for the rest of their life. Others want to be able to sort of pick and choose how much they do, but still have money coming in. Whereas the wealthy never have to go to work for their money. They've set up intelligent businesses and structures that actually the money creates itself every day. And as a byproduct of that, they just look at the right staff and people to have on board to oversee these kind of goals and tasks that all create money. And they just make sure that that's in place, and sit back whilst this money keeps generating itself, often 24 hours around the clock. If you can achieve this in life, this is what they know as a passive income. And this is the most important thing that I'm going to try and teach anyone today with creative business ideas is, yes, set up a business that you love and matches your personality. But my advice to anyone else that wants to sustain in business as well is try and find businesses that generate profit relatively easy without too much complication. Examples of this could be things like a sandwich business, bike tire changing companies, all these kind of things, okay, where you can put staff in to do situations, pay them a certain wage, put them on performance related pay, i.e. if you work super hard, I'll give you loads of bonuses. If not, this is just the basics. And try and build like an ethos within that team where everyone kind of wants to support the leader because the leader supported them. It's not always perfect to achieve that, but at least that's the motive and the goal. But the reason I'm highlighting this is passive income is the most important thing. So again, if you started something like a sandwich business, it's relatively easy to staff that and get people in control that you can trust and put on performance related pay opportunities. And now that's a sandwich business that you may not care about, but if it generates enough profit, the money that comes from that allows you to fund as many creative business ideas as you want. Okay, and you'll see me tap into this more as we go through this session. Please don't think I'm trying to force sandwich businesses on people during this. All I'm saying is, if a part of your personality is that you really like money and you like to make money, start to look at as many businesses that kick money out as an output, not necessarily what they do to make the money as part of it. But if you're interested in that, have a conversation with your worker. We may be able to put some support and sessions around that to help you guys a little bit more in the future. Anyway, I'll leave these both as web links to have a look through here. But as it states here, passive income is income that requires little to no effort to earn and maintain. It is called progressive passive income when the earner expands little effort to grow the income. Okay, examples of passive income include rental, so owning a house where you then rent it out for the rest of the year, and any business activities in which the owner does not materially participate. Some jurisdictions, taxing authorities such as the IRS, Internal Revenue Service, or in the United States of America, distinguish passive income from other forms of income such as earnings from regular or contractual employment, and may tax it differently. Here in the UK, we are not taxed by the IRS, we are taxed by HM Revenues and Custom. And as a byproduct of that, there are different opportunities for what you do. But I think it's a fair assessment to say, as long as you continue to create profit, there will be some elements of tax that go with it unless you understand how to work tax efficiently. Cover that more in other sessions as well. But more to the point, trying to help you basically generate profit within a vehicle where you accept that you may be taxed, but you're not having to work it every day yourself. Okay. Let me come back to entrepreneur then. So if you are out there now and you're saying to yourself, right, I really want to get into business, I'd actually quite like to do something creative within business. This is the type of resource that you're going to want to use again. So I'm using entrepreneur.com, which I showed you right at the beginning, and I showed you the search function. So again, what I tend to do as an entrepreneur, and I'm really sorry to be this graphic, but most mornings when I wake up, it's time to go, and I'm talking about the toilet, and I'm talking about number twos, which normally means it's going to take more time than number ones do. And for a lot of people, this involves boredom or social media. Well, for the entrepreneur out there and for someone like me, if I'm waking up and it's time to go first thing in the morning, I also want to be taking some knowledge on for the rest of the day. It's going to keep me thinking like an entrepreneur. So this is exactly the kind of article that would help me first thing in the morning. And again, you can just go and do your keyword search that you want for whatever you might be interested in and just start taking in a couple of articles. That might help you to start off with. You don't need to have any ideas for the next month. You're just trying to do that as a habit, and you're taking new information on that helps you start to think a little bit more like an entrepreneur, or for options and avenues in the market that mean you might be able to make some money and hopefully a profit. So I think this is an amazing resource to share here, which is 55 business ideas, and all of them between under $5,000 apparently to start up. The first one being stated here is an accountant. I have a solution-based mindset. So when I see that, I think, well, how can I find as many people completing accounting courses at college and ask them if they've got anyone they want to work to, or whether they'd be willing to come and work for this accountancy firm. You know, if you can get them to set that up and obviously have that staffed by accountants for accountants, but under your own branding, you're the one that's being courageous enough to start the practice rather than them looking for someone who wants to employ them at the practice. So you've got a double-sided option there, and you'll see it does say experience, training and licensing may be needed. However, probably a little bit out there. This comes straight back into what I was discussing only moments ago, where you could be repairing bikes, you know, somewhere like, and again, my golden motto in business is always try and target a wealthy area. You know, you don't want to sell products and services to people who haven't got money. Typically, you want to sell them to people who have got money and obviously want to look cool with their money, ideally. So if I suggested something like Canary Wharf in London, which is the banking district of London, I would set up a bicycle repair company out somewhere like that. And again, just to give you an idea of some of the numbers that you can generate with businesses like this. He says unable to open the application he was desperately trying to open. Let's put this into numbers quickly. So here's a calculator. Let's say it is £15 to repair a bicycle's puncture or repaired element around the bike. And you are able to do 4 of these on the hour. Okay, so it's £60 an hour. Not very much, okay? But if you're able to staff this with 4 people who can all now do the same thing, now we're up to £240 an hour. And if we work an 8-hour day, which is realistic, that could be £1,920 a day. And this is what I'm talking about. People don't do numbers. And when you're at school, they're not teaching you to look at numbers. But if you're motivated by money, the first thing I'm trying to teach you in today's session is start to do numbers that actually add up and are realistic to life. Okay? And now let's say we're doing this 5 days a week, because that was just for one day. That's £9,600 a week. And now let's say we're willing to do that for 48 weeks of the year. You know, that's almost £500,000 just in repairing bikes, okay? Which is a considerable amount of money, and you may not have that much business every day on the hour, but you would be surprised how much of that you can generate and how much of these numbers you can use to set yourself a target to then start achieving these goals, okay? A boat cleaning business is another example, really viable and simple and easy in London, okay? Just coming back to this screen so everyone can see what I'm talking about. So a boat cleaning business in London would be hugely viable. I'm sure definitely down by the Thames, there's always people that need stuff doing. You don't have to be highly skilled to set up something like that, which means, again, you could be taking overseas workers or unskilled workers. And by that, I mean people that, you know, they're in this country, they're willing to do whatever they can to try and get on their feet with any form of employment. Put them onto that. And we'll look at how you can start to generate the type of money that might be of interest to these people too. Here's another quick example. I'll go back to my calculator and I'll use the sandwich business, for example. So let's say I sell sandwiches at £5 a pop, okay? And my target is to sell 300 of these sandwiches a day. Okay, that gives me £1,500 a day to be able to buy the ingredients and pay all the staff to deliver that too. Okay, so, and I'm going to do that 5 days a week. Okay, and I'm going to do that again for 48 weeks of the year. So another business that should make over $250,000 a year, okay, in terms of what we call income or revenue, okay, so money actually coming into the company, versus kicking something else back out with that. So let's see what my costs are likely to be like. So let's say I've got 2 members of staff that I'm then paying £10 an hour. Sorry, let's make it worth their while. Let's give them £15 an hour, and they only work 6 hours a day for me. That's £90 a day, but it's £1,500 back in profit from what we just saw. And I've got 2 of those, okay, and they are working 5 days a week for me, okay, and of that, they're going to be there for 48 days of the year. So it seems like a lot of money, okay, but it's really not when I start doing this. So look, we're going to remember 43,200 away from 360,000, which is what we saw before. Okay, so minus 42,350, I think was the number we had on screen. We've still got huge amounts of profit here. And from that, you know, you can still be buying your ingredients, you can improve the quality of the ingredients. And the difficulty is selling 300 sandwiches to a tower block, again, up in Canary Wharf, where it's got office workers looking for high quality gourmet sandwiches, shouldn't be too difficult. So we've got numbers to play with within here. And we're going to look at the planning in the number section even more as we go through. Okay, but I'm just going to bring us back to the businesses that we were looking at a second ago. So there's loads and loads of different ideas in here, but like I say, the main reason that I wanted to show you this particular resource is A, it's American, it encourages and celebrates success, it's not shut your mouth and don't be a show off, and on top of that there's a really good article here which gives you some basic business ideas. However, today's session is about creative, okay, so I want to get into that straight away, which is, here's some ideas straight away again for people that may want to do stuff that's more creative. So again, you might be into art. Can you take art, blow it up, agree something with the original artist and resell using your blow ups and kind of portrait pictures and opportunities? Wedding photographers, people always need pictures at weddings. You might be good with a camera. Can you teach yourself to do some of the basics and find opportunities and ideas out there? Give you an idea as to what people pay for a wedding photographer. They're normally on about £300 to £500 for a day, and from that they get to eat all the food as part of the photographer being there, as well as obviously take snaps pretty much for just about an hour, and then later on in the evening. It's a good earner. Okay, jewelry maker. If anyone thinks this is laughable, I want to use an example that's close to home with Giggs and the SM1 family. You may or may not be aware, but Spen, who is one of his brothers, is involved with a jewellers up in Hatton Cross now, which is a very popular area just outside of London for all the major jewellers and jewellery options within and serviced around London. Huge amount of opportunity across the urban music scene at the minute with jewellery and bespoke jewellery designs. Don't overlook that. It's really easy to find yourself some courses locally, and then obviously start to do everything individually. Again, we're starting to see ideas here again, designing logos. You can teach yourself how to do this using YouTube these days. Here's a popular one that most of you probably will have attended at some point with me as musician. Blogger, so having an opinion on different bits and pieces. It could be anything. It could be to do with gaming. It could be to do with music. It could do with fashion. You know, the sky's the limit. Mobile app designer, you may never have seen yourself as that, but there's big money in app design if you can teach yourself some of the basics, or you're always good with computers before. You know, don't overlook areas like this too. However, I don't want to be sort of prescriptive. What I do want to do is just share some web links with you guys now, and obviously explain the benefits of a creative business. And the advantage of a creative business is you kind of have a bit of a personality within the brand, and hopefully you're doing something that is enjoyable and not too academic. What I mean by academic is when we're all sort of numbers, words, all these complicated things that probably weren't enjoyable in school. Okay, you know, whereas creating some images and learning how to sell them online, you know, that might be a business that matches your personality or something you see yourself doing. You know, start off with a doodle, figure out a way to make that look impressive on a phone. Can you scale that up and now sell that as pictures? Again, these are all just basic ideas. And one of the reasons I always give you guys this Word document that comes with it as well is you'll see there's a lot of notes and web links that are all being shared in as part of this, so you can figure out things. I don't want to tell you what to do. All I want to do is give you resources so that you can go and find ideas that you think might work for you. So we've got this web page here. I've got 40 more ideas in a separate article here again, and you're going to start seeing lots of other different bits. So we've got candle making, quilt businesses, sewing. Yeah, this is quite interesting. Etsy, if anyone's not familiar with that, you know, again, say we've gone down the jewelry making avenue and you're not necessarily doing the kind of cheap plasticky like looking jewelry, you're doing bespoke, one away, kind of tailor-made for the individuals. All of these services can be sold using this website here, Etsy, which is basically like a creatives place, like an Amazon and an eBay. It's just they limit themselves pretty much to the categories that you can see at the top here, which are predominantly around being creative, clothing, or some sort of art and craft type opportunity. I'll let you have a look at that in your spare time, because I don't want to spend too long, but another really good place where you could just target and want to sell your products and services through. Okay, so just to recap again quickly, two places here for ideas. Okay, we're already into this segment here where we can start to understand, and if people want to see that, that's actually in Etsy too. The other thing is you might see products and services within Etsy and you thought, oh, I never thought I could do that. What we're already seeing, hopefully learn quickly in this session, is you need to be out there scraping the ground and looking for ideas, trying to get knowledge into the brain as to new opportunities that are out there for the marketplace. Nothing is wrong. Doesn't matter if it takes you 12 months to do that, or 12 hours or 12 minutes. Okay. What is important is you feel confident and you've done your research to look at things to think, yeah, actually, this is something I could commit to, and I think that my personality is matched to as well. Okay, there's more ideas for you here again. Miraculously, you'll see them stealing my business idea that's worked for the last 15 years, teaching music, okay, teaching art, language. Lots of this is going to be teaching based by the things. So we go now down to sell your art, selling t-shirts, enamel pins. We've got here patches, okay. All these different ideas. Anyway, like I say, this is more to flood your minds with creativity and creative ideas that may suit for businesses, okay? Again, my argument to you guys would be, you know, if you want to look at my students and who's been successful today, I've had people that have come to me and started off as musicians that are now top film directors for the music industry. I've got people that have set up their own arts and crafts companies that come out of that, and they now sell products and services and that. I've got people that have set up charities where they help people to look at dyslexia and why they're in prison, and then linking it back to see if they can find themselves kind of training and skills opportunities to help get into employment. Lots and lots of different things out there. I don't want you thinking when you just hear creative that you've got to do all these crazy and weird and wonderful things. What you need to do is find something that works for you, that is described or defined as a creative idea or opportunity, and become business-like with that, is essentially what I'm saying. And my advice to anyone is just go and experiment, try things. You know, there's a lot of free courses available at your age at colleges and schools. You know, in this current climate with COVID, there's probably a lot of online training resources that are going to become available too. So if that's made available to you and for free, my advice is get on that, because all you need to do is soak up this knowledge, just like we were learning to do back in entrepreneur.com, and you're off to the races with new businesses and new business ideas that should really suit you and hopefully give you a bit more of a fulfilling day, that when you are committing to something that people are calling hard work, it doesn't feel like hard work. You're just willing to work at it all day because it's something you enjoy.